Hey everybody, welcome. So nice to see you on this fabulous Friday. My name is Laura Mazzotta, for those of you who don't know me. I'm a spiritual empowerment coach and I've been a therapist for 20 years. And today I'm here to talk about shame. Please ignore my froggy voice. I have a little bit of a cold. But this has been coming up so much lately. Shame has come up for me. It's come up for my clients. It's come up for people in my world. And it's absolutely critical that we have this conversation because I got to be honest, I'm just done with it. Like, done with the whole shame conversation. Like, it's so funny because especially if we have been healing ourselves for a while, if we've been working on ourselves for a while, if we've been diving into those patterns that we had when we were younger or reasons why we feel ashamed and all the things, there's absolutely no need for us to continue diving into it. So it's helpful to have awareness that there's shame underlying something. So, I wonder why I can't go do this, that, or the other, why I can't get momentum going here, or what's stopping me, what's holding me back. And we can identify that that's shame that's holding us back. And shame very often comes up around money in particular. And it comes up around relationships and service and taking care of ourselves, things like that. But when we are sitting in shame, we're sitting in the past. And it's not helpful for us to sit in our past because we don't want to drag that into the present unless it's something that's really positive or a memory that's really helped us. I mean, all memories have helped build us to where we are, but a memory that's really helped us clarify who we are and who we be. Okay, because what are the thoughts and the beliefs that really underlie shame? I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. I'll never be good enough. All of those things are thoughts or belief systems that run through our subconscious minds and as a result, often our conscious minds when we're experiencing shame. So if any of that stuff comes up, then you know that's what you're feeling. The other thing is that, sometimes people don't even realize that those are the belief systems that underlie what they're feeling. But then after they journal for a little bit or they dig a little bit deeper, either by themselves or with a coach or a mentor, or their therapist, they realize that it's shame because they find these thoughts underneath. Because shame is very insidious. It hides. It's very secretive because it's something like the perfect image that I have is I had a client who would come into my office for decades and always put pillows in front of her because she was so ashamed. She would always kind of stack as many pillows up as she could because she had so much shame from her childhood. And it's that hiding. And whenever we do that and we notice how our bodies respond when we're feeling something, it can give us a real cue as to what we're feeling. So shame is usually like eyes down, shrinking a bit, hiding. So especially like if you're a spiritual entrepreneur or something and you're having trouble going live or posting or things like that, shame is very likely underneath that. And it's very common, especially with people with a trauma history or with compounded trauma in particular, for shame to become something that actually is like habitual, right? And runs through the next steps in your life, where you are now, and decisions that you make. And we don't want that to happen because that's not empowered, right? When we are in a shame state, we're not feeling empowered. We're not feeling like we are in our personal authority. Okay. And that's where we want to be because that's the place where we make good decisions and we make empowered choices that help us fulfill our mission. And that's one of the really key points that I want to say here. One of the number one things to do, I actually think it's the top thing to do when we're talking about eradicating shame is to, you have the 3 things from Breanne Brown, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. Because I think those are good little stepping stones. Oh, you can't hear me? Is anybody else having trouble with audio? Thanks for letting me know, love. Anybody else having trouble with audio? I'll turn up my volume and see if that helps. So just say if you see, there's still no sound. Does anybody else have no sound? Or is it just Marith 1111? Let me know and then I'll continue chatting away. Okay, you can hear me. Okay, thank you, friend. I appreciate it. So, yay, I love you, Sherry. Are you crying because you're hearing my voice? Okay, so what was I talking about? Oh, I was getting into the good stuff, and then, and then there was no sound. So, okay, when we are talking about the number one thing to eradicate shame, it is getting really, really clear on your mission, getting really, really clear on your purpose. Now, this doesn't mean, oh, if I don't find my purpose, I'm going to stay ashamed. If I don't find my purpose, I'm not going to move forward. We can easily get caught up in that. So don't make finding your purpose your day job, okay? Because honestly, you're going to notice that breadcrumbs are going to be left by God in the universe, and you're going to be building information about your mission over time. It's not like it just drops in and all of a sudden you're like, oh, there's my purpose. Hi, how are you? And now I know exactly what to do moving forward. It's a process of unfolding, and that's purposeful because we don't want to know everything about our mission right in one fell swoop. Because especially if we are here to do big, big, powerful, impactful things, that can like rock our nervous system a little bit, right? And the universe does want to take care of the human and be gentle and compassionate with the human. And we want to do that with ourselves too. So it's good that it kind of drops in little by little, but we want to have a good idea of where we are going in terms of how we want to feel. And the general direction. Like for me, I'm a spiritual empowerment coach. I know that my personal mission is to heal my ancestral line. I have a lot of different patterns, but that ancestral healing is big for me, creating a new story and a new narrative in my family. So I know that's my personal mission, and my professional mission is really to open up the opportunity for people to have a voice, their own inner voice, to know their inner voice, and to embrace their uniqueness in a way that really allows them to see it as a superpower, and that this is a valuable, potent tool to be able to offer other people. So I think that for you, like that's my mission. Does that mean that it's the particular mastermind that I'm running that serves this kind of person, that makes this amount of money, that serves this many people over this amount of time? No. You know what I mean? So it's like we don't want to get caught up on the details and the how. It's just like in general, I know that's what I'm meant to do. And my how to get there is going to shift based on guidance from the universe. And as I grow and as I up level and have just a different level of vocabulary and vibration to be able to offer people. Okay. So getting your mission in place is really about like, what lights you up? What do you desire? I would focus on desire because sometimes mission can feel like a really big word, and that's a little daunting and too much to take on. So just focus on what you desire. And it's not just, oh, I desire something in this moment, and so I'm impulsively going to claim that as my destiny or my mission. But it's being able to sit with that over the course of 72 hours or longer and say, okay, this continues to come into my field. This continues to urge me to move forward step by step. Because when you're focused on where you're going, then you're not living in the past anymore, which is where the shame resides, right? And the shame gets built up with all these codes that have been passed down from our ancestry, our past lives, previous experiences in this life, and they all get housed within our inner child, which is that energetic part of us that holds all of our wounds and exists in our sacral chakra, right around our womb center. And inner child work is certainly something that you can work on if you have not been doing work on shame consistently. And attending to your inner child and really offering that level of consistency and compassion and reminders of resilience is something that's going to be very productive going forward for sure. But if you're somebody who's healed a lot of layers of shame, like me, for instance, when this shame came up for me the other day, I went into my journal to start to dive into it because turning toward it is my MO, right? I'm a light worker. We're all about, you see the fear, you turn towards it, you gather information, you get the lesson. So I go in my journal, I start to write about shame. I wrote like 2 sentences and I was like, fuck this. I was like, I don't need to do this. And I don't desire to do this right now. You know what I want to do? I want to focus on being empowered. That's what I want. I want to be empowered. I want to feel empowered. And so I'm going to choose that. And I even wrote that down. I am choosing to be empowered right now. And what are the things that make me feel empowered? Well, I think about my mission. I think about my vision, and I remind myself what I'm here to do. And guess what? It's not fucking about me. It's not about me that I'm doing this work in the world. It's about the collective. It's about God. It's about the universe and the ultimate divine plan that is unfolding here that I have freaking no clue about, right? I don't have any idea about it necessarily. I mean, sure, I have some clue. We have some clue here and there, but like, ultimately, I don't know what God's ultimate plan is for the universe at large. So it's not about me. So when my shame comes up, it's like I notice it, I turn toward it, and that's what's so cool, my friends. The more you turn toward the shit that you label as negative, like shame, guilt, anxiety, depression, fear, whatever you want to call it, the more you turn toward it, you're going to process. You're going to shed new layers. You're going to learn new lessons. You're going to implement it, move forward. You're going to notice that then you turn toward it and you're not even needing to spend much time with it anymore because you've worked on it so much. You've already cultivated this relationship. The conversation flows in a way where it's like, okay, I'm turning towards this shame again for the, 862nd time. And now the conversation's a little stale. I'm like, dude, we've had this conversation a lot, right? And I've extracted things, and not just extracted them, but implemented them and integrated them into my new way of being. There's a difference between I'm going to turn toward it and get the lessons, but I'm not going to do anything with it, right? I'm just going to like keep going about my daily life. Great, I have the awareness, and that does help me, but I'm done now. Right? So when you actually integrate it and internalize it into your next steps, you're now at the point where when you turn toward that shame, you're going to know when you're done processing it. You're going to know when it has been, it's not having as much of a pull on you energetically, and it's not dictating to you, which is so cool because so much of the time shame dictates to us. So at that point, it's not dictating to us, right? It is, we are deciding. We're saying, I choose to be empowered. This isn't empowered. That's what I choose to embody. And then I take the steps that I know that I've mapped out over the course of my own healing journey to do that. Okay? So the only other thing that I wanted to share here was this concept of what Breanne Brown brings forward, which is, focusing more on the human level of shame. Like what I was just referring to was really more spiritual and energetic based. So a little bit of the deeper work there, talking about the inner child, in addition to really focusing on your mission and taking steps towards that empowerment and forwarding that, even if it's one little step at a time. But we can also attend to our human a little bit in this moment as well. And sometimes we need to attend to our human a little bit to bridge the gap before we dive into the deeper stuff, because it can be very tender. And I recognize that, especially if you've experienced a lot of trauma and this is a very fresh conversation for you, you may do better spending time with a therapist or a mentor or a coach or something, or a loved one who can really assist you and hold your hand through it. Hi, Serona Energy Healing. Thanks for being here. Okay. So the three things that Breanne Brown brings up are compassion, connection, and courage. So courage borders on what I was talking about with the empowerment, right? Making that choice and then being able to kind of rah yourself up and move towards your mission. So having the courage to do that despite the fact that you're still feeling the shame. We don't want to allow the shame to discount us being able to move to that next level, right? Because it's then holding us back. It's then become a deterrent. And you've allowed that to kind of insert itself as a boulder in your path. And that's not something that we want to allow to roll into where we're going. So the connection is something that's really going to help humans, right? You can reach out to connect to anyone, and you don't have to talk about the space you're in. You don't have to say, I feel like a shit show right now, and oh my gosh, I need help, and wow. You can literally just connect. You can also offer your own love if you want, just to create that energetic core that makes you feel a little bit more stabilized and a sense of belonging, which, if you know anything about psychological research, Maslow's hierarchy of needs tells us that belonging is it's right there at the bottom of the pyramid, one of our most basic human needs. They did studies with rhesus monkeys that, if they were deprived of physical touch and they were deprived of being in a habitat with other monkeys, even if they were fed and nourished well, they would perish. And so it's truly a core human need to feel that sense of belonging. And with shame, we hide, right? We were talking about those bodily movements and those gestures that come with shame. We hide, we shrink, and that's the opposite of feeling connected and connecting, which is why one of those pillars for Breanne Brown in particular is to reach out, to just connect. Okay. And then that last one is compassion. And I think that giving compassion to ourselves is one of the most stable practices that we should implement on a daily basis, because especially those of us who have had any kind of trauma history, that's something that we need on the daily basis. And even if you haven't, you're then being preventive going forward to show yourself compassion and self-love. And you could do that by giving yourself a hug, by putting your hand on your heart and one hand on your belly and taking a deep breath in and thinking about what you deeply appreciate, which is a heart coherence exercise from the HeartMath Institute. If you haven't checked them out, I highly recommend it, heartmath.org. But really showing compassion to yourself can be as small as going to get, your favorite burrito. Why did I think about a burrito? I haven't had a burrito in so long. Or your favorite piece of chocolate, Go and turn on your favorite song. It can be very simple, friends, very simple. But what matters is the intention and taking that action behind it so that we're following through and showing ourselves in the universe that we matter, that we're deserving, and that we're serious about committing to ourselves. Because if this is the other thing that happens, we can bitch about not moving forward and not processing our shame, right? But the thing is, it's like we're our own worst enemies. You know what I mean? It's like we bitch about the fact that we aren't healed yet, or, what is the hand that's been dealt to me that I'm still feeling this way? That's all blame, right? We need to take full responsibility for who we are and where we're going, and talk about stepping into our power, right? That's what we do. We step into our power and we say, no, I'm claiming my next steps. I'm claiming my next version of me, and we're able to, really not get lost in the stories and the lies and the illusions of shame that they present to us, right? So anyway, I hope this is supportive for you. What we're talking about here is releasing blame and responsibility, releasing blame and taking personal responsibility. Okay? We're talking about shifting into focusing on our mission and our vision. We're talking about that courage, connection, and compassion. We're talking about how we hold our physical bodies. We're talking about our commitment to ourselves. There's so many layers here, but at the end of the day, if you are consistent with showing compassion to yourself, you're providing that consistency that you may not have gotten when you were younger. You're providing that consistency that you are deeply desiring from your inner child at this moment, even if you're not consciously aware of it. And the more that you can consistently commit to yourself, the more you become a reliable source of comfort, connection, courage, and compassion for yourself. You don't need to look outside of yourself for this shit. You get to just rely on you. So it starts with these steps, okay? And I do encourage you to spend some time thinking about what breadcrumbs have been dropped around your mission, because that is going to be your quickest one-stop shop to be able to snap out of it. Again, get support if you're early on in this journey and this feels like it's a little bit too further on the path for you. That's fine. Have somebody hold your hand while you do it, and then you'll get to this point where you're ready to just choose, and you can just decide. But think about who you want to be, and does that shame keep you in a space where you can feel a sense of pride with yourself and say, yes, I am fulfilling my soul's purpose by sitting in this. Shame is one of the lowest frequencies on the energetic frequency scale of emotion. Anger is higher. Go get pissed. If none of this guidance helps you, just go get pissed, because that's actually you choosing right there. That's you making a commitment and being compassionate to yourself right there, because you're saying, I choose not to be in the shame vibration anymore. I choose a different vibration. And so I'm going to choose anger and I'm going to get pissed. Not only am I going to release, but I'm heightening my vibration. And I've showed myself and given myself and the universe a message that I am not going to allow shame to dictate to me anymore. I get to decide what I currently embody. Okay? So if this resonates with you, send me a message. Just shoot me a DM with the word shame, and we can chat more, because I'm happy to support you around whatever's coming up on this topic. There's a really wide spectrum of experiencing shame, and it can go from super, super fragile and feeling wounded all the way up to, yeah, I can hold shame and make the big decisions. Yeah, I can hold shame and still go to my next level. Okay, so please feel free to reach out to me. I would love to chat with you more. Hey, Beyond Coincidence, so good to see you, my friend. Thanks for being here. Happy Friday. And if you caught it near the end, definitely watch from the beginning, because there were some really good nuggets there. Anyway, I love you guys so much. Thanks for joining me. I'm going to go have a little dinner and pick up my son from tennis, but I really appreciate you spending your Friday evening with me, and I hope this was helpful. Drop any takeaways below that came forward for you during this live, or if you have other thoughts, so that other people can have this ongoing conversation about really what this truly is I want to say a pandemic. An endemic, really, of shame that runs through our cultures and our societies. And it's time to be done with it. It's time to give it this message that we get to take control, that we get to dictate, that we get to choose, and that we know exactly how to do that. And the universe is on our side to do this. So you're so, so welcome, guys. I really do so appreciate connecting with you here. Mwah! I love you so, so much, and I'll see you soon. Bye.